Alrighty guys, down here in the bottom left corner of Daybreak, your blue Terran player, it's going to be Dream. Man, he is good in TVP. Other matchups, not so much. His last 10 GSL matches, he only won 2 of them. Both were against Protoss. So,
yeah.
Well, he should have this one in the bag, though. We'll see how Yongwa is going to handle him. In the top right corner, it's going to be your red Protoss player, Yongwa.
That's right. And bringing out your big gun TVP sniper here at the very beginning. You know, IM does have other Protoss players, obviously, at their disposal that they can throw out here. And I'd be curious, we see players like First all the time pop out. MC has actually come on a regular basis and played as a mercenary for them in team leagues, in our team leagues, actually. So I'll be curious to see what direction they go from here on out, supposing, of course, that Yonghwa were to go down. Certainly you wouldn't see another Protoss after this, I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, if Dream does beat Yonghwa, immediately you throw out a Zerg player. He has like a 25% win ratio against Zerg. And that's like, I believe that's over like 40 games or something like that. He just does not do so well. It's kind of one of the reasons why he's been hovering around Code A, not moving up too far. He just needs to really work on his TVZ. But nonetheless, he's a really good addition for GSDL formats, or of course our IPTL. So normally when you look at Dream, he loves to go for really quick starports, falls up into Marine aggression across the middle of the map, and then grabs 4 Hellions, and then comes in and drops behind. And then he just kind of procs around the main and the natural. So look to see him go that right, and actually he has moved into gas, so it's a huge possibility for him to go for that build. It's really standard for him.
That's right. And Yonghwa does look like he has a pretty good indication as to who he's playing. As we can see, he's going to go for double gas before his cybernetic score, so he's going to answer aggression with a fairly unconventional build himself. In most circumstances in TVP, Protoss players will build that and first gas a little bit earlier, scout their opponent, see what's going on, then decide whether or not they want to take gas or just move into an expansion. In this case, though, Yonghwa's like, nope. I'm not even going to scout. I know you're doing something weird. Let's go ahead and prepare on our own.
Not feeling that, man. Moving straight into cybernetic score. Yeah, he, like you mentioned, he's not even scouting here. And such a good job here for Yonghwa, just knowing the player and really just paying attention to his opponent and playing to his opponent. It's so important in Team League. So SCV does pop into the main, and Dream's going to be like, this is going to make my push a little bit on the harder side. There is a possibility to go ahead and fall up into a quick command center, just get a factory and get a couple of Hellions and just be a little bit aggressive on your opponent. I would actually go that route here instead of just going for the mainstream aggression that he goes for. Just go for an expansion and throw your opponent off.
Now, Dream did get up there. He clicked on both gas. He saw that there were 2 workers in each gas too, so see if he anticipates what's going to be hitting out of his opponent. But Factory is well on the way now for Dream. He has not gone for his own second gas quite yet. We'll see if he decides to go that route here momentarily, because if he doesn't, you know, we're looking at something like drops into an expansion or a little bit of aggression different ways than just something like Cloak Banshees.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Banshees, a good thing about Dream too that I love, I'm sorry, I watch a lot of his replays because I want to be right for this.
Sure.
He loves to go for the Hellion drop, the Marine drop. If he doesn't have damage, he'll go for the expansion, and then he falls up into a Banshee out of nowhere and pops into the main, and oh my gosh, it's so annoying. And Protoss players are like, why do you have a Banshee, man? You went for medevac first. Why are you going to do this to me, brah? And so they get really angry. And it's a cool way. He just plays so, I guess, I wonder what the annoying, I guess, is the word to look for it in the mid game. But there goes that first starport. Should be seeing medevac for him, and we'll see the aggression that he wants to put on.
All right. Well, yep. I mean, churning away those Marines and Hellions at the moment. No even reactor add-on on the barracks or anything along those lines. So it's not like it's going to be that 8 Marine, 4 Hellion drop or anything. It's just going to be a bit of pressure here soon. Yonghwa does decide to expand after the double gas before cybernetics core. He is just mining away at gas at the moment. This could be, you know, Twilight Council here in just a second, and then following it up into something else. No, actually going right down the Robo path. That will, of course, allow him a very early observer. Check out exactly what his opponent is up to.
All right, well, the first 6 Marines are now moving out across the middle of the field here. Nice micro here from Yonghwa. This is a really good way to stop this push, is to pop off Marines if you have strong micro. Like if you Squirtles does so good against this kind of plays, because you'll have a couple of stalkers in the middle of the map, and it'll poke off Marines for them to get across, and you lose that threat so much. But Yonghwa took too much damage and is forced to retreat here. But there's a medevac on the way. We have been having Hellions created, and I believe they're actually in the main of Dream's base as well. So that will be the drop here. He's going to poke with 6 Marines and a couple of Hellions.
All right. Well, he's got to head out with those soon. The 3 Hellions are finished up. There they go. They're, of course, very fast, so they'll move across the map very rapidly. Meet up with those Marines here in the middle of the map. Yonghwa, though, looks like he's a bit prepared. for something like this, knows that something cheesy could happen. Those Marines did greet him right at the front of the ramp. He was hoping to poke in there with that Stalker because, of course, there's so much space from the ramp before you actually get to the natural. There's not usually Marines just posted up here, so he knew that they were moving out and is taking precautions.
Youngwon plays so smart, too. He has a unit down that third as well, just to be ready for those Hellions. He knows Dream so well. Good job, man. The Hellions are actually moving to the natural. He moves his probes away. As long as you retain your probes here, you are so far ahead of your opponent. Force on that ramp, and he deals with the medevac drop right away here. Going to have the Stalkers and simply dealing with it.
Yeah, I mean, he does end up losing one probe, and he's actually going to lose a few more here. Wow. So running those probes up to the front to be able to deal with this. But, of course, doesn't lose too many of his attack units, ward this away. Now the Hellions are actually coming in from behind, and this is where Dream could get a little bit scary because now these probes are all bunched up.
Looks like the Hellions are going to be force filled it out, and he's doing his best here to get a couple of snipes off, but it does not look like he actually killed enough probes to really make that worth it. I think about 4 to 5. I feel like if you need to kill like 9 to 12 for this to be worth it, because he just now expanded here. Command Center is just about to finish up. He killed 10. Okay, so I'm okay with that, actually. That's actually a lot of workers killed off. So I would actually put the game a little bit on the even side here. And he falls up into that Banshee that he loves to do so much.
There it is. All right, so you called it perfectly before, and we'll see if this Banshee can get in and do any damage. There is, of course, an observer across them. Two. right next to each other, actually.
Just double check it. Make sure this is what's coming.
There we go. Okay, they're going to split up a little bit now. Likely what had happened there, if you're curious, guys, was that he had his rally point across the map. The first observer was done. The second observer was constructing. Then the drops hit, and he just forgot about the observer, and it flew across the map to meet it.
The observer definitely becomes low priority when you're dealing with those kind of drops because they can do so much damage.
Yeah.
So, now he has one station outside of the natural, has one outside of the main, can see when a pull-out comes out, and he actually floated to the right side to see if that Banshee came out. And I think he actually saw it go that route, so we should start preparing for it. I'd like to have some Stalkers down at the natural, and we do actually have a Robo-Bay on the way already.
And he actually made a third observer and is building a fourth at the moment. So really, really wants knowledge of the map. Now, don't forget, he did get a ton of gas very early on, and observer's very heavy in gas, not in minerals, so it's pretty easy while he's delaying and waiting for the robotics bay to finish up to get a few additional observers.
Yeah, Dream's late game is kind of weak, so Yongwa, just with all these observers, is really yelling, okay, I just want to watch out for everything, get to late game, and just beat him in a standard game. Banshee is into the natural. Nice defense here from Yongwa, pulling the probes back, and he will have that defended pretty nicely.
All right, so Banshee gets moved away. Probes go back to mining. Needs to get some back on gas here in just a second. Has forgotten that for the time being. But we see that Dream's actually going for a pretty decent push here. It could be a drop, but of course there's an observer tagging along with this. He knows exactly what's going on, and I would anticipate that the Stalkers are going to be shifted up here soon.
Man, Young was just doing a good job of keeping tabs on Dream completely here. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and move to the natural and just go and punk up straight up into the middle of the ramp here. The 4 observers is such a good play here for Yonghwa. Again, just getting that gas early, as you mentioned, and just sinking him into having vision on the map, so valuable against a player like Dream. I'm really impressed, actually, with Yonghwa's play. He's moving to double forges as well, just getting all the upgrades up. He'll go for a third base whenever he holds this off, and they'll be sitting pretty. You just got to make sure you don't take any damage from this. And look at that, actually, with the glosses popped out, force fields here, Yonghwa's so safe right now.
He is. He's also being a little bit greedy, though. He's decided to, while this attack is happening, to invest in all of his upgrades. Yeah. And he's actually pretty low on his gateway unit count, so he's got a good deal of strong units. He's got a second Colossus on the way. It's going to have range very soon. Doesn't have a lot of meat in his gateway army, and that's the only thing that could kind of catch him off guard right now.
Yeah, he's trying to catch actually Dream off guard there and try and catch a couple of Marines stuck there, but Dream pulls back just in time with that factory being there, helped him out a little bit. But look at the upgrades here. We have the 1-1, which are a little bit over a quarter of the way done, and we just have +1 armor now being put up for Dream. Dream actually with that aggression realized, all right, Young was doing a good job of really watching for my aggression, just moved straight into their command center here. And this little poking and stuff is just meant to keep his opponent from going from a third base. That way he can get some kind of advantage by having a really quick economy.
That's right, but as we see, a third Nexus is going down, and Yonghwa should be able to defend that pretty well. I mean, he doesn't have to shift too many units down here, and we'll be able to defeat all of that, unless, of course, Dream shifts everything over to the third, which he's thinking about doing.
Oh man, and these again, I keep touching on this, guys, but these observers, they're really making this game a little bit easier for Yonghwa. Did get a snipe though. We did have a scan happen for Dream, so now he can start moving wherever he wants to here, and hopefully he can catch the units out of position. Again, Marauders with some Banshee DPS will absolutely destroy through a small patch of units of Protoss here. The 2 Colossus do come down though, and they immediately, oh my gosh, the stim happens, and he does snipe that 1 Colossus right away.
Yeah, 1 Colossus falling. The second one actually in danger of being under fire here too. There's not a lot of firepower left in this army, especially with that Colossus going down, and all of a sudden Dream's going to easily be able to push these Stalkers back, and this is a dead third base. That's going to have to be canceled right away.
Yeah, take that cancel, force it, and then pull out if you can here. The Stalkers, though, are being warped in, and he is getting a decent amount of units. He's also got a 4-pylon back there to get a flanking with some Zealots if need be, and with the other Colossus popping out, it's going to make it a little bit harder for Dream to force that cancel, and Yongguo is going to hold this base.
Little surprised there that he didn't just, instead of trying to pick off an extra Stalker, to just sit back, do as much damage as you can to the Nexus, circle around it for a second, then get out of there whenever the time comes. But he's actually just going to wait for round 2 with a couple of Vikings.
Oh, Vikings do pop out, and yeah, they have a nice little area here to get a couple of free pot shots in this Colossus here. There we go. Gonna have the stem, gonna rush forward. Force fields are perfect here for Yongguo. Gonna hold back these forces. They'll just focus down the Nexus, man. Just go for it. The Vikings are zoning out this Colossus. But you're right, he really wants to kill off Stalkers. I know they're really important mid to late game, because Dream does like to have a lot of medevacs on the field, but just take the Nexus, man.
Yep. In the end, he ends up getting that and a Colossus. So who knows? Maybe he's just a genius, and but he ends up achieving both goals, although it was a very risky strategy. Could have got a lot of forces caught there. But now with extra Vikings heading to the front, another Colossus is going to fall, and all of a sudden there's nothing left in Yonghua's army.
These small ragdoll units here are just sniping so many Colossus here. What do we have? 4 die off? And now Marauders just dealing with the Stalkers, and they're going to be killed off so quickly. He's getting a couple of free pot shots on the medevacs, but with that, the Marauders are getting their free shots on the Stalkers, and they're just killing them off so quickly. I think Yonghua might just be done here. Yeah,
even with the decent Blink Micro, Yonghua loses his entire force. He's down to 55 supply to 130. And so behind this, Dream, actually, before we even GG out here, well, there it goes. MVP does take the game there 1-1, but it was a ridiculous. I mean, you see how well he was macroing up back at home. We weren't really talking about it because of how good Dream was doing up at the front, but his infrastructure looked great. His upgrades were all on the way. He was working back into a second starport and a barracks at the same time. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, certainly. I really think the best play there for Yonghua, instead of going for that third so quickly, is to try catch off some units and allow your upgrade. Just chrono boost them out, and then when you get the upgrades, then go for your third. I know his opponent went for a quicker third, but he did a good job of holding everything off so early. But still, nice job from Dream, man. That shows why he has such a good win ratio in TVP.
So what race did you say that the Dream doesn't perform so well against?
He cannot play against Zerg.
Well, coming up next is going to be a Zerg player for Incredible Miracle. Yeah, it's going to be Bjol. So we're going to go ahead and run into that game after a commercial break. We're playing on an incredibly large map, too. It's going to be Whirlwind, so don't go anywhere. We'll see if Dream can test his mettle against a large map Zerg player. We'll be right back.